Are we going? Alright, don't fall off, you stupid. Come on, Newton. What is Newton doing? Okay. Right, so this is our crash course in, well, today anyway, contextuals. How to answer certain types of questions. So, because this pops up so often, Mr. Norbs, Salt, and myself decided that we would do a little investigation in how to approach certain types of questions, in this case, reliability and usefulness, because they're often mixed up. So let's begin with usefulness, because it is common, more common than reliability, and I would argue easier. It is a level 3 higher order type of question. And so when you approach that, you are being asked usually to look at two ways in which a source, any type of source, primary, secondary, intercontextual, is used or can be used by a historian to evaluate a certain topic. So what you need to do is start by extraction, but you cannot leave it at extraction. You have to evaluate what you extract. So if you're looking at, let's go with Cold War for whatever reasons, you have a source in Cold War, let's say it's something from JFK, Kennedy on the Berlin Wall. You could extract something that he says about the building of the Berlin Wall, and then you have to show, with regards to what the question asks, the question would be something along the lines of, how is the source useful to a historian examining the tensions created during the Cold War? And then you would look at something that he says about the communist, let's say, desire to stop the exodus of East Germans, East Berliners in general. And you would evaluate that, saying that because he's spoken about the fact that it is creating tension, the building of the wall is creating tension, it is easy to identify the fact that it is now showing us that this movement of people from east to west is creating massive tension, because it is embarrassing, humiliating, and an admission of failure to the east. So you have to evaluate it. You can't extract it simply, but it starts off with extraction and then evaluation. Reliability, on the other hand, is looking at the trustworthiness of a source, a single source. I think we could argue that any one source is not entirely reliable on its own, but for the intents and purposes of contextual response, we would say that the reliability of a source is based on particularly bias with regards pretty much to origin and intent. So identify the origin, do not look to the substance of the source or the content of the source, because that would pertain to usefulness. Look at who created the source and why did they create the source. That will give you an eye into the bias of the source. The more bias there is, the less reliability. Some would argue it's either reliable or not, but we can speak in extents. So I would say that the origin of the source, let's take the same source, JFK, is the source reliable in understanding the true causes of the Cold War, something to that effect? No, not reliable, because it is produced by the capitalist West world's president, US president, therefore bias in favor of capitalism, and the intention of it is to essentially vilify or demonize the East, communism, and therefore that increases bias, and that on those two accounts it is therefore not reliable. And we're done.